want to talk about an idea I have for a new type of PvP that I think would be cool to add to Final Fantasy XIV and 5.0. In a nutshell, it is open world PvP, but I give it its own name. Now don't close this video out, give me a chance to explain my idea and how it works before you do that. Now for players of an older MMO, the best PvP MMO ever made hands down in my personal opinion, called Dark Age of Camelot, this will not be anything new at all. I want to break this down into 3 parts. First, I'll explain what it is and how it works, and what features it'll add to the game. Second, I want to talk about why I think it would be an extremely popular addition, and how it can fit into the story of 5.0. Third, I want to talk about the business aspect, and how it will help Final Fantasy XIV and Square Enix make more money. Because why would they want to add and spend a lot of time on a feature like this if it's not going to turn them a profit? So I've dubbed this new PvP system GC vs GC, and that stands for Grand Company versus Grand Company. And how you do this is the 3 Grand Companies will have their own new zones, connected in different ways. It could be land bridges and constructed bridges, flight paths, or even teleport crystals, so that players from, let's say, the Immortal Flames start in their new zone, and they can make their way to the Maelstrom zone. Each new zone will be divided up into 4 regions, 2 that touch the border of each of the Grand Company's mainland, and 2 that make up the rest of the new zone. Each region will have its own castle that is the heart of the region. These can be claimed by a free company and upgraded almost like housing. Think of it as a free company PvP, and each castle will have 4 small camps surrounding them, spread out across the region of course, and these can also be claimed and upgraded by free companies as well. When your Grand Company owns a region, the defenses of the castle are at their peak strength, with things like more NPC guards and a castle lord, which is the boss of the castle, that you have to kill to be able to claim it for your free company. The camps are there, so an invading Grand Company that takes the camps before they take the castle weakens the castle's defenses, giving you a slight easier time with the sacking of the castle. Now why are we doing this? You might be asking yourself, other than glorious combat of course. Well, each border keep will have in it a relic of power, and your Grand Company's main goal will be to try and take these relics back to your own border castles. And why you want to do this is because each relic that your Grand Company owns, you get a power boost. So there are 6 relics total. 3 of them are for melee and ranged weapon damage, and 3 of them are for black and white magic power. So if you own all 6 relics, you will have a slight advantage in battle against the other 2 Grand Companies, and this also carries over to PvE. And that is important, so it ties PvP and PvE together, and it'll give people a reason to want to go and gather the relics. Now the percentage of the power of each relic can be worked out at a later time. How do you stop a Grand Company from just going straight for the border castles, you might ask? Well, you just make it to where the Grand Companies have to claim the other 2 castles before you're able to claim a border castle. So now let's talk about what new systems this will add to the game. First is true open world GC vs GC combat. Second is castle sieges. Third is a new type of crafter class to the game in the form of war engineers. War engineers will be vital to the taking of each castle. You would be able to craft all manner of war engines, from catapults and ballistas to hot oil cauldrons and rams. So you can try and ram a castle's door down to get into it, or maybe just try to open up the walls of the castle with catapults to get your Grand Company in there to claim victory. As a defender of the castle, you will have the ability to also try and repair things that are being attacked by these war engines. That is the new GC vs GC system at its core. It's a picture of the old Dark Age of Camelot RVR map that I have edited to give you a visual aid of how it could look. You can see the 3 zones that are connected to each other. The red lines are the borders, connected to the Grand Company's main zones. The blue dots are the castles, and the small red dots are the camps. Now let's talk about why I think it would be a very popular addition to the game, and how they could fit it into the story of 5.0. First off, how you can add these new zones is with the new calamity. I think in 5.0 there will be a new calamity, and in the 5.0 teaser they hint at it with this line: "This tragedy, greater even than the 7th umbral calamity, must be undone." Like the dramatic effect. Now I think this is hinting at how we will defeat all the Ascians, and our shard, like the shard from the Warriors of Darkness storyline in 3.1 to 3.4, is going to be overrun by light, and this will be the 8th Umbral Calamity, and that is why in the trailer we are fighting that angel-looking mob in such a barren-looking zone. Our shard is in real bad shape. I hope this is how it goes and they don't do the whole stupid time travel thing like some people are talking about. That would be so lame to me. So lame. And this calamity is important because it gives the developers the opportunity to change how the grand companies interact with each other. In the aftermath of the new calamity, resources are scarce, forcing old alliances to break down. The new calamity uncovers these new resource-rich zones that each grand company has claimed, and the grand companies are now fighting over control of these new zones for more resources. And that is how you can add it into the story of 5.0. I think this will be very popular because not only will it add open world PvP to the game and keep players engaged in the game in between current, content droughts, which will keep sub numbers up overall, but it creates a meaningful competition between the grand companies. We'll be constantly fighting over the control of the 6 relics to gain the power advantage they gift us. So there's a very real reward for our hard work you can feel as you play the game. Also, it'll add something new to the game in the form of Grand Company Pride. Is now you pick a Grand Company and really that's it. I have never even heard anyone talk about how they are an immortal flame and they are proud to be one. Because being part of a Grand Company doesn't really mean anything other than different colored uniforms and chocobo bardings. I played Dark Age of Camelot for the 8 to 9 years that I played it. It was always a mid. It stands for the realm of Midgard for those who haven't played Dark Age of Camelot. And I couldn't ever see myself playing as one of the other two realms. There was Albion and Hibernia. Because I was proud of the realm I was and the struggles that we faced to claim the relics for everyone. Played mid. And you can create that same sense of pride with the grand companies in Final Fantasy XIV with this system. Also, castle sieging is always a blast to play. I mean, who doesn't like down castle walls and going in there and wrecking some fools? Now let's talk about the last part of this, and that is, why should Square add a system like this to the game? I mean, it's simple really, because it'll make them even more money. Like I used to be, there are thousands of MMO players out there that only care about PvP, and those players are not playing Final Fantasy XIV due to the lackluster PvP the game has to offer right now. I do enjoy it, but it's not the best PvP out there. I'm not saying this to bash the game, okay? I want to try and make it better. Compare Final Fantasy XIV's PvP to other games like WoW or Guild Wars 2 and Elder Scrolls. Those games have a very large PvP only player base, and if you add a system like this to the game, an open world PvP system that has its own zones, castle sieges, PvP crafting, and a meaningful progression system with the relics, you get some of those players, if not a lot of them. You'll have a ton of new players buy the game and subbing just for this content, and that is the best thing. There's no need to have to constantly add to it because the struggle over the artifacts will keep people playing this for a long time. Players will create their own content, their own stories. Dark Age of Camelot had me hooked for 8 years, and their PvP mode, apart from a map rework and a couple small adjustments, pretty much stayed the same the whole time. So once you add this to the game, all you need to worry about is job balance in PvP, and they are working on that already anyway. Square has said they want to add on to PvP to try to make it an esport. And by having this system, you will draw in far more players that'll be more likely to buy the game and get into the ranked content so Square can achieve this goal. So this concludes my presentation. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say, and please, let's talk about this in the comments. I love this game and I just want to make it better. What would you like to see out of PvP in 5.0? What do you think of the GC vs GC system? What would you change about it? I'm interested in your ideas. This is Corlox. Have fun killing shit in Eorzea, and goodbye.